International bitterness units, or better known as IBUs or even BUs for short, is a common beer stat found in most breweries and tap rooms. Like a score for wine, it's a number that many of us use to decide which beer is good and which beer is not. Unfortunately, this number tells us very little. My question is, are you one of the millions of beer drinkers that have been misled by IBUs? When you step inside Inbound Brew Co., you'll find a variety of great craft beer, from a Berliner Weiss at 0 IBUs to a West Coast IPA at nearly 100. And with this wide range of IBUs, the challenge is deciding how much bitterness is just right for your palate and which beer will get you there. I'm Jeremy Storton. I'm an advanced Cicerone and the host of the Good Beer Matters podcast. I've partnered with Brewery DB to bring you Trusted BrewKnowledge. Trusted BrewKnowledge is a series of videos to help you better understand beer and what to make of it. And today, we're going to talk about the bitter truth of IBUs.
So I'm the owner of Inbound Brew Co., and I kind of oversee all the production side of the business, write the recipes. So I've been brewing since right around 2009.
So now we're getting into a much higher level of IBUs, 60 to 80 IBUs. Right. We've kind of put Germany aside and Belgium aside as far as
Right.
IBUs go. We're really
Right.
focusing on some British styles like IPAs, stouts, and definitely American IPAs and different iterations of IPAs, whether it's Brut or Belgian or white or anything like that.
Right.
But this is prominent bitterness now.
Right. Yeah, and this is where you're going to find, most normal IPAs. By normal, I'm going to say not hazy, not West Coast, but like a good chunk of them where, you're going to see more malts that are going to bring up that malt side a little bit, bring up some sweet character. But the hops start to become more the focus. It becomes a little bit more classified as a non-balanced beer.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I've noticed with some IPAs with a lot of IBUs and a lot of perceived bitterness also tend to be fairly dry.
Right.
Maybe the water profile is bringing the hops into clearer focus, and maybe the malt bill is designed to just kind of lay a foundation so the hops can take the center of that stage
Right.
and just play that face-melting bitter riff with its flavors.
Right.
But is that the one and only 60 to 80 IBU experience?
No, you're going to find some of your bigger stouts are going to fall in there. They'll have their all their sweet malts. These are going to be like the bigger alcohol stouts where you're not going to get that dry fermentation. So now you're going to start balancing that out by cranking up the bitterness on them. And you don't really want a lot of hop flavor. It's just kind of like, let's balance this thing out by providing a clean bitterness to it.
So some of these beers, when I look at just that number, that IBU number, 60 to 80, then it doesn't mean that it's going to be dry and melt your face off. These can be balanced. They can have the malt that kind of steps up along with that too, right?
Right, and I think you're going to be focusing your malt profile to make sure it stays balanced, also your type of yeast so that it doesn't overly dry it out when it's fermenting. You're purposely leaving some residual sweetness there to kind of keep it all together.
So once again, embrace the bitterness, or don't fear the bitterness, because it might actually be a spectacular beer.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? But these, if the hops are if we're bringing the hops up and bringing the malt up to balance that out, I'm guessing that these beers are going to have such a bigger flavor impact that they may not. I'll speak for myself. They may not be my go-to lake beer.
Right.
Or my middle of the day kind of, I just need to throw one back after mowing the lawn type of beer. What's the best occasion for a beer of this nature?
No, this is a little more hanging out. Not like, this is where if you want to sit there and just kind of enjoy the flavor of the beer and relax. It's not going to be hard work beer, like you said. It's not that very hot day type on the beach type of beer. This is about maybe sitting indoors or just sitting in the shade and just kind of taking it easy and enjoying the beer for what it is.
Well, I'm thinking about a beer of this nature, generally speaking. Now I want to start thinking about what food I want to have with it. I want to start thinking about it. The flavor impact will be so big that I'm thinking, how can I use this as a tool to just kind of work really well with something delightful for dinner or something like that.
Yeah, and that's what's fun. You get these big stouts that have you know, so much going on in the flavors. Like, I mean, you know, you can almost sit there and swirl it in your mouth, you know, and just kind of think about it, and it will be heavily, your perceptions will be heavily impacted by what you are eating with it or snacking on.
Yeah.
You know, like you throw some dark chocolate in your mouth, it's gonna take it one way, and you know, if you throw something that's, you know, like a sweeter type dessert in there, it's gonna, you know, definitely bring it to a different direction. So and you're gonna like be able to sit there and feel these flavor changes almost happen in your mouth.
Well, and that's where I love like the idea of like a double IPA or even like a British barley wine at this IBU range.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think of like something impactful, like take like a good like a blue cheese, for example, like a creamy blue cheese with that flavor impact. That bitterness really works well with those flavors especially in this example. But having just this interesting flavor thing, but taking the same beer with the blue cheese and that same beer with a piece of chocolate, and just seeing which way the flavor goes and how the bitterness kind of takes it in two different directions.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, you know, like a tray of charcuterie, like, you know, would be really fun. Like even if you had some olives on there, like a salty character to, you know, like the cheeses, you know, with their bold flavors. Yeah, make it a lot of fun.
It could be a lot of fun, absolutely.